backyard with Bob Lance and Jodi Turner. And we are longtime residents of Keene. Now I live in Swanzey. It's a little bit different, but still I consider myself part of the region. So today what we're going to talk about, Bob, is Keene and how the main street has changed. Now today, this is only a half-hour show, and I have to keep reminding myself of these things, but we're only going to focus on this side of Main Street and Roxbury Street. So Bob has been doing a lot of research. If you tuned into a show previously, he talked about all of the ads and the newspaper clippings and different things that he's got. So Bob, where do we start?
Probably over by the police station or just beyond.
Okay, all right. So the police station, we're kind of looking at when we were in like junior high, right?
Right.
So this was a long time ago. But junior high, okay, so we had the police station, which was really nice, I thought, you know, having the police station downtown and things like that. Then, let's see, what was next? There was a, like Max Cut Rate, was it? Or
It was Square Drugs.
Square Drug, okay, Square
next.
Drug.
Yeah.
And then I remember Jean's Pastry.
Exactly.
Jean's Pastry was out on West Street at one time.
Yes.
But then they moved downtown. That was like in the 80s, I think. They had like the best donuts. If you've never had a Jean's Pastry donut, you don't know what you're missing. But those were awesome. Let's see. Oh, Johnson's Drug.
Johnson's Drug Store.
I remember that. We've spent plenty of time in there with my brothers and I, all having to get cough syrup, that great tasting grapey kind of cough syrup. Do you remember that? I don't know.
I never had that.
No? Okay.
Only
right.
Sucrets.
That was what your parents gave you?
Yeah, they were awful.
Well, this stuff was really good, so you don't know what you were missing on
Yes,
that
I
either.
missed out.
And then, let's see, the Little Folks Shop. My mom used to go there and buy all of my Easter stuff there. So I would have gloves and hats. I know it sounds really queer now, but anyway, it's just the way it was. You know, that's what we did, and we'd go to church and we'd do all of this stuff, and those are my memories of that little section. Do you remember any of the other parts on that area there?
Well, yeah, the Little Folk Shop, very vaguely, along with a handful of Vitalis, you know. I got through it somehow. I survived.
The people that ran that store, they looked like they should have been like from New York City. Do you remember them?
No, I don't.
She was a tall lady with glasses, I think, and her husband was a little shorter. I liked going in there. They were always very nice, but anyway. Okay, so let's see. We've gotten around, let's see. Now, Keene Savings Bank. They had that nice mural that was on the inside of the bank.
Barry Faulkner mural was inside.
Right. I don't know if it's in there still or not. Do you know?
It's on display somewhere else,
yeah,
I think.
okay.
I think that
I'm glad that they were able to save that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So again, junior high. Let's see. So we traveled all over Keene because that's what we could do back then. Because
exactly.
By
bicycle.
Right. I mean, that's how we did it. We never had rides. We walked. We rode our bikes pretty much everywhere. So let's see. We're going to go down Roxbury Street now. So Roxbury Street, as you turn down, what was it? Jid's?
Boucher and Grout.
Oh, Boucher and Grout. Okay.
Probably.
The next one.
There was a laundromat there. Snowflake
there?
Laundry was
Wow.
right where the entrance to the apartments are now, with the glass front.
Oh, really?
And just beyond that was Boucher and Grout,
Uh-huh.
and then Jid's, a little cigar store.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me just back up on Boucher and Grout.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I mean, I have so many memories, great memories, and I'm sure you do too.
With a wooden shoe sizer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had to walk up steps. It would not be handicapped accessible.
Right.
But those metal steps that you had to walk up, but you kind of felt like you were walking up into heaven to the shoe store. And they had shoes everywhere, and that's where almost every year my grandfather would bring me for school. I'd get to go in with my grandfather only and go and buy my school shoes. These are memories that you can't forget when you have things like this. Yeah. All right, then let's see, the Y.
Yep, the Y.
Do you remember when the Y was the original Y?
Yeah, I used to go in there, I think after school and sometimes on weekends, and play ping pong and pool, probably with Rick even, at that point.
And do you remember the buzzer to get into the pool?
I didn't go in the pool. We had a pool at the house.
Oh,
so,
of course, yeah.
So, I mean, I didn't go to the pool very often.
Yeah.
In school, we had gym class in the old pool.
Yeah.
But I do remember the buzzer. And was it Jim Wilson? He was the director, I think, at that time.
Uh-huh.
But he was like a staple item, always there all the time. And he was the all-around person that ran the place, I think, at the time.
Yeah. So then let's see. So the Y building now has been sold. and they're going to do some renovations and things like that.
Yeah, I don't really know. I haven't kept up on that.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, the new Y is beautiful. That's out in West Keene now. But, you know, it's just sad to see, you know, a building like that sitting there. And also middle school. Look at the middle school,
yeah,
you know? Like so many memories of that. You know, going up and down those stairs. Again,
exactly.
Very handicapped accessible. But those hard metal steps.
Oh, and
I was in like 8th grade. I broke my leg. I had to walk up and down those steps during all the classes. That is a memory that I will not forget because it was just a real pain. But, you know, now kids all have elevators and different things like that. God. Anyway, okay. So let's hit the other side of the road. Let's see. Let's start with the A&P grocery store.
A&P.
Yeah.
Yep. Coffee grinders at the checkouts.
Right. And they had those wheels. They had those wheels that you could roll
like
dog food out on, and
yep.
that was so cool. I can just remember that.
Yeah.
And they had those out in West Keene too.
Grand Union
Yeah,
as well.
Grand Union had those too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see, what else was there? I think that was it for A&P.
Yeah, A&P. There was nothing else in that direct spot. Let's see. There was a lawyer's office on the corner of the side street there.
Yeah.
Originally, the liquor store was where Aubuchon's is now.
Well, it's not Aubuchon's anymore either, though.
Right.
Because Aubuchon's just went out there.
Now,
yeah. So in that building, though, it's right beside Hannah Grimes.
It was originally the liquor store,
Yeah.
and then it became R&R Jewelers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it became Aubuchon's,
Right.
and now it became nothing,
Who knows?
I guess.
Well, who knows? It's opportunity for somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Jodi Blaisdell, Sportorama.
Yeah. Again, you go to some of these other box stores now, and it's just not the same. You don't get the service. There's a couple of stores in Keene that you still get the service from, and it's very personal and it's great. But, like when you went to Jodi Blaisdell, you always had one of the family probably waiting on you.
And they all knew you.
Yes.
I mean, my dad had a store right around the corner,
Right,
so we knew that.
right.
But still, it was a lot more personal than it probably will ever be.
It's just the way it was. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh. Remember the wigwam socks? I don't know if you remember those.
I do.
And we had to have uniforms for gym class.
I thought,
did the boys have to wear uniforms?
Not in my time. I think we just had shorts, just generic black shorts and a white T-shirt.
Girls had to wear uniforms.
They
were the ugliest looking thing.
I heard some of the old school, like 50s and 60s one, where they had these big bloomer kind of.
Yeah. Well, these were like, I just came back to my memory. These were blue
like
and stretchy. They were blue and stretchy. They were shorts, and the shirt was together with it, and they had a waistband that was elasticized. Honestly, the ugliest thing that you've ever seen. But anyway, they don't do that anymore. Okay, so Jodi Blaisdell. Let's keep going. I don't remember that many stores on the other side.
When I was very young, it was the Star Restaurant. I believe it was George Stavro who started that. And then there was a deli. I almost thought it was called Jimmy's, where Audio Lab is now. And they had all the classic sort of corned beef and sandwiches and things like that, and all the sandwiches listed above the counter.
Don't you miss that?
I do. I used to go around, and that was my errand place for the staff.
Right. Well, and it was right around the corner from your dad's.
So I was always getting coffees and things to go.
Right.
And going around the corner for him.
So now your dad's was Lance Jewelers. Now, which store was that in now?
It's in Moe's clothing
okay.
store.
Yep.
Yeah, 8 Main Street.
Yep. I remember that. Just because, when it was wedding time, we had to get our dishes and pick out our rings and different things. So I remember going in there. It was always beautiful. It was always very relaxed, and everything was always clean. It was just
Thanks
spectacular.
to me.
Yeah. So you mentioned it last time, I think, on the other show, but you used to do the bracelets for.
I did most of the engraving.
Yeah.
Even when I was a little kid, I did it just because I always needed something to do.
Yeah.
If not, I'd bribe my dad into buying, springing for a model at Woolworths or something and go down to the basement and do that.
Yeah, because then you mentioned Woolworths, but there was Jupiter's, and so that was
with the
a
classic
great place to go.
Creaky floors.
But they're all wood, They were all
exactly.
That, yeah. And they had, as you went into these stores, they had this little ramp that you would go up. Probably, I would think, to keep the water out, when
Yeah, I'm not
around,
sure. I think so.
But not a lot of them had steps,
Right.
Even back then, they had ramps. Okay, so let's see. Jupiter's,
Amsden Shoe Store.
Amsden Shoe Store. I love that I mean, again, they had the boxes up on the walls and everything. It was just family, you know, the same people there all the time working.
The same guy, I think his name was Walter Loisel. Worked there till he was nearly in his 90s, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember exactly. I think he was 88 when he was still there.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Wow. So are you guys keeping up with us here? Okay, so, all right. So then Amsden Shoe Store, good nose, with the chutes that came up and took your money and brought it back down. That was so cool to watch.
My friend has recently started working there again, and he was told to go clean out a section of the basement, and he found the blueprint for the whole layout of the pneumatic system. And how it works and how the canisters work and the instructions. So
I've never seen that anywhere else.
I'm waiting to get some pictures of that. He's going to get them for me.
Again, I hope you remember this. If you don't, ask your parents or your grandparents, and they'll explain it to you as well. All right, so then Endicott Johnson's also was Imports Plus at one time.
Yes, later on it was Imports Plus. And Imports Plus at one time was around the corner on Roxbury Street.
Right. And then they got into a larger building, and then they got into all kinds of different things. You never knew what they were going to have, coffee or dishes or whatever. Okay, so then Woolworths.
Of course.
Pop the balloon and get a special.
For a Sunday.
Yeah. Let's see, they had the counter there, so you could go there and have lunch and different things like that. That was fun.
Goldfish in a bag.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right, so then, okay, the big building next to that was
New England Telephone.
New England Telephone, yep. And so now that's down the street now. They must have consolidated somehow.
Yeah, it originally was on Washington Street.
Right.
Almost across from the middle school. And then they got the big sort of corporate building at that time.
Right. And that was huge back then.
It was. It was the whole building.
And the
offices are all upstairs. So it was the whole thing.
Right. So, wow. Just, all these things that are coming back into my head. Okay, then we're coming down here. Okay, now we had, was the Quality Shop first?
Quality Shop.
And then the Melody Shop? Was the Melody Shop right next to the Quality Shop?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or was it over here? I can't remember. It might have been over here.
At one point, it was the Bell Shop, but I think that was down here. At one point, the Bell Shop was in one of these storefronts.
That's right. Was the Bell Shop a ladies' clothing store?
It was,
okay. Yep. Okay. So backing up just a little bit, we had, what was it, David's Cigar Shop. Okay.
And they had the peanuts and the hot roasted peanuts.
Yes.
You can always smell from the outside.
Yeah. And then Mr. Pizza's.
Exactly.
Okay. So we have to talk to you a little bit about Mr. Pizza's. We found out today when we were going to shoot this show that we lost a really wonderful person who was a strong member of our community, Mike Blastos. I'm getting teary-eyed. I don't know why, but he was such a big part of.
It was a huge part of Keene.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Aside from being at the pub for 47 years, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Well into his 80s, still working there.
Yeah.
He was the longest standing mayor.
Yeah.
Was another thing. But he always gave so much.
Yeah.
And he had very exacting standards as well.
Right.
Which is something that's starting to fall off a little bit these days.
Yeah. Well, again, he's community. He's old town, old time, service. It was great.
And family oriented.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So, thank you, Mike, for helping us along with everything.
Thank you, Mike, for all your years.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. We've just got a few more to go. Was this Cheshire County Savings Bank? What was this? I can't remember. Keene Cooperative.
Keene Cooperative.
Okay. So Keene Cooperative is where TD Bank is downtown now. And then that was Melody Shop, where Clark Mortensen is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So the Farinas, they had the shop
Mario
there.
Farina.
Yep. It was, great. That's where all of us kids, when, did you ever go there for musical instruments? I don't know.
I shopped at Knowles, I think. Knowles Music way up on Washington Street back then. And back then it was like a one-shot deal. My dad actually bought a drum set from his friend's son, who was Al Thrasher, another Keene person.
Yeah.
And so I really had what I needed.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to the Melody Shop because that was where you could buy records. Those round things that you put on a record player? No 8 tracks then even, just records, that was it. So, I remember going there and picking up records, probably the Bee Gees maybe, or let's see, what else? That Sunshine Band.
Rick and I were more into Alice Cooper, I think.
Oh, Alice Cooper.
You know you were.
Oh, God. Well, it's funny because really, we come from different backgrounds.
Yeah,
you've got a very musical background. I've got a little bit of more of a sporty background, but so we
right.
see things differently that we used to come downtown.
Well, I
see.
tried, but unfortunately, my sports career amounted to Lucas without the slow clap, so.
And mine for music, I started out on clarinet. I couldn't play it in a couple weeks, so I gave it up. Darn, what was I thinking? Anyway, okay, so you got the music side. All right, so let's continue on. So we had the Melody Shop, and then what else did we have down here?
Let's see.
I know we had Charlestown Mill.
Charlestown
at the
Mill
very end.
was at where the Bagel Works and the Works now is. I have a picture of that Toy City at some point moved downtown.
Yep.
Down in that block next to Good Fortune. I believe.
Right. I think where the Ultimate Tan kind of place is
right
there.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. Isn't it amazing to look at all the changes that Keene has gone through? We have the largest main street, and you wouldn't know it now so much because you've got trees,
The
you've
widest
got a
paved
median.
Main Street at one point, and then they put it. It was a lot of controversy when they put the medians in the middle. You used to just park there, but there was no rhyme or reason.
Right.
I don't even think there were lines then. You just knew where to go.
Right.
And then they imposed the meter system, and then it all changed.
Right.
But
look, when you look at it, it's beautiful. It is a little rainy today, but it is a beautiful layout. You've got trees now. In the spring, when the flowers are blooming, it's beautiful. Everything is white flowers, and it's just nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How many main streets do you go into and see something as nice as this? They try, but nobody can be as good as Keene, right?
Hey, they can try.
They can try. Yeah. All right. One more place that I wanted to mention is, let's see, the pizza place down here that used to be 176 Main. I don't think that was a restaurant when we were growing up.
It was Peter Christian's just
That's
before
what it was.
176 Main.
That's what I remember it. Yeah.
But before that, I really don't recall.
Yeah.
There was a gas station where Cumbies is now. It was a Texaco station.
Yeah.
I think.
No, there was
two. No, it was a Gulf station.
There was two gas stations.
There was a Gulf station first.
Yeah.
And the Texaco station was on the other side. That was Skip Howard's dad's place.
Yeah. Actually, if you think about it, there was 3 gas stations because there was one on this side and 2 on that side.
Right.
Because when they put Cumbies in, they took out the other gas station.
All in one block.
Right. I know. Can you imagine if they had a fire? Like, poof. Wow.
It was Goodyear.
Goodyear, yes.
One year, I have a very distinct memory when they had the Spirit of America. And a lot of the race cars. I think the Spirit of America was the record holder at the time. It was like built by aircraft manufacturers. 25,000 pounds, 25,000 horsepower, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Incredible, but I thought that was the greatest thing ever
Well,
at the time.
Of course, I know, we're kids,
The Blue Flame, that's another one they had down there.
You're a guy.
Couldn't get enough of that. Hey,
Well, this is cool.
At least I don't ramble about football yet. No, it doesn't.
So, tell me a little bit more about what you've been doing lately. You're going to do some interviews, and you've been on Facebook quite a bit with things about Keene.
Yeah, I started just about 4 months ago at the end of April, and there was about 150 members on that page, and now there's over 2,200. So I'm a little taken aback. I never expected it. It just kind of fell into my lap. So I'm just.
Yeah. So what you post? Did you post like old advertisements, old captions with pictures of
people? I got 4 boxes of newspapers that.
Do you need an assistant? He'd like an assistant. He can organize things for him.
That's what I do need, really, but that takes all my time, just sifting through so many.
Right.
I'm gonna eventually. I'm going to save what I've already scanned in case somebody else. In case they want to take a look, there's tons of articles still.
Right. And scanning them is a good thing because you never know. You could have a fire
Once
and
they're gone,
boom, they'd be gone.
They're gone.
Right.
So,
just like everything else. If it's gone, it's gone. It's not coming back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's okay to remember the past as long as you don't plan on living there. That's what I always say.
I know, it's, you know, it's, sometimes I think, you know, I would love to go back and live a day, you know, back when it was simpler time and, you know, but then look at all that we have now. I mean, there is a balance there. You know,
Sure.
I don't have a dryer because I say, no, I'm not going to have a dryer. I am going to hang my clothes up because what, it's not such a bad thing, you know? Do you know how to hang your clothes?
Absolutely. I was the clothespin king for quite a while.
I love doing that kind of stuff. But, you know, there's a lot of things that we can go back to that aren't going to hurt us. You know, like having our own gardens, you know, things that we used to do when we were kids. I mean, when we were kids, I don't know if you guys did, but we had a huge garden in our backyard.
We didn't, actually. My mom was busy being the secretary. She worked at the Grange for many years.
Right.
And actually sang at WKBK live commercials before the advent of tape. So
that's funny. That's so funny.
Direct to wax cylinder is what I used to kid her about.
Wow. Okay, so anyway, the point is for this whole show is think about where we've been, where we've come to, how we've gotten there. Talk with your kids, talk with your grandparents, talk with your relatives, friends. It's so important to remember the past, and we're not going to go back. But that's something to remember, again, that you can never go back. If you've missed it, that's it. So try to make the most of it. What do you think, Bob?
I think that this is all overwhelming, but I like it. I kind of like it. It's fun.
I know, it is, it is. Well, you know, it makes me feel like a kid. You know, it makes me feel like I'm not as old as I am, because it seems like just yesterday that we were riding down, we could ride on the sidewalks then, and we'd have our little cards in the wheels and make it sound like an engine, and you know, we were just doing like kid stuff. You know, it was fun. So.
I won't mention when Rick and I knocked the Salvation Army bucket over with our bikes, but that slipped out.
Okay, well, today we've been in my backyard, and I'm really glad that Bob has been my guest. If you're interested in more information about In My Backyard, you can email us, and the email address is inmybackyardch8@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you. Give us your ideas. We're happy to do it. This is all out of our pocket. There's no sponsors here so far, and so we can talk about whatever we want, but I do like to keep it about Keene, agriculture, gardening, the environment, and then history. I love history, and you'll see a lot more shows on Swanzey history as well, because, you know, I lived there and I love it. So Keene and Swanzey, we'll go outside, but just let us know if you have any information that you'd like to share. Okay, thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Great. We'll see you again in my backyard.